potentially coming out from FM, but meanwhile it is going to be fairly standard starts for both sides. So I don't expect a lane swap because the Corki Sivir matchup generally favors Corki for the most part, just because of the amount of early pressure that he can apply, especially when he comes back into lane with a Sheen. So I don't expect the lane swap coming out, and it doesn't look like that's what's going to happen. Meanwhile, I'm a little bit interested to see what Tundra decides to do in this early game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, he's kind of hovering deep towards the other side, and it looks almost like he's posturing to shove up really early, which I think would be a good idea against an Olaf. He can't see us that well under a tower.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. And what yeah, this was something that was definitely potential. He recognized that Olaf might be trying to do a camp, and so to put the lane in his favor, what he did was he tried to tank the wave to get it pushing back towards him. That means that the level 2 advantage that Alphari would get from doing a camp would be completely denied. But Alphari recognized this, quickly ran back to lane, and managed to get a large amount of poke down to Tundra. So now already early on, Alphari getting a nice health advantage in this lane.
Yeah, and he's actually gotten a lot of CS off the back of that, too. Tundra's got to be careful not to overextend now. And we see another great response from Infused. They're sending Memento up there early. There's no ward in the river yet for Tundra, I do believe. Yep, nope. So Memento, he's looking for it here. He's coming in with the spear. He gets flashed, though. Tundra is able to get a... Whoa! Flash forward by Memento. They're really going for this.
Oh.
First blood goes over to Alphari. What a play.
So that all stemmed from the level 1 advantage that Alphari was able to build himself up. He managed to get, obviously, the health advantage, forcing Tundra back, and it actually froze under Alphari's half of the map, and that meant that, as you rightly said, Memento comes immediately top, and he does seem to like these level 2 ganks, which gives him the momentum to be the memento that his team wants him to be. So definitely impressive performance, and now with Alphari and that first blood, he's gonna be doing the carry top laner that he loves to do so much.
I wonder if he eats Mentos too. I mean, he is pretty cool and minty. But in any case, he's gonna be roaming back towards his blue buff now, which Nutri has smartly decided to steal away, given the pressure that was going on in top lane. Memento, though, I don't think he's gonna mind all that much, because getting that early kill onto Alphari was worth so much. Alphari, he has a potential to become a force to be reckoned with if he keeps this up.
Yeah, so definitely an interesting one already. I like the fact that we've already got Memento memes complaining in the chat. I'm not sure people appreciate our puns very much, so I guess we'll just have to think of even wittier puns as the game goes on. But as we can see in the bottom lane, being shoved up already towards Infused, and I'm sure Infused aren't going to really mind that very much. They're just going to farm under tower fairly safely. Meanwhile, in this mid lane matchup, we can see already Charlie T having a very dominant performance over Civis. Built himself up a very small CS lead, but definitely having full control over that lane.
Ooh, Memento. He needs to be careful here. There's actually a lot of support coming in for FM. I don't think he can get out of this one. He already used his flash in the top lane. He goes down. Ziviz actually getting the kill credit for that one. Picking up a red buff. Might be able to use that a little bit to harass Charlie T in this middle lane.
Yeah, well, that's definitely going to be a massive advantage for Civiz. Nutri recognized what was happening in his half of the jungle, immediately told his team. Unfortunately, Wisdom was in a great position to be able to collapse. Meanwhile, in the middle lane.
Oh, Charlie T gets flashed on. There's the pulverize. There's the headbutt. He's got to get on out of there. Heal and flash both used by him, keeping him healthy for now. But he's going to have to recall and give Wisdom, or Ziviz rather, good chance to get ahead in this middle lane.
So, not only did Ziviz miss his gravity field, but Nutri also missed his body slam, so bit of a miscommunication there, a misprediction of what might happen. Meanwhile,
whoa, Wisdom! That's a lot of damage, dude! I'm not sure you want to do that! He goes down, Poke picks it up. Toaster is actually getting a lot of damage back onto Poke, though. The minion's blocking him out a little bit. Keel having to come across. Not a bad trade, though. If you're Infused, you're happy to get that kill.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a little bit curious as to what Wisdom was even planning. He didn't have his flash available because of the gank in the middle lane. Same for his ignite, which means that he basically walked into the lane without any summoners, and you can't disrespect the damage coming out from a Braum and Corki. The Winter's Bite passive is going to stun you up and add a bit of extra magic damage on top of your face, which is definitely going to put you in a bad position. And I guess he just didn't respect the bot lane from Infused, so a bit of a misplay there from Wisdom, and that's going to give the advantage, a bit of a massive advantage over for Infused. You can see a big CS discrepancy developing in the bottom lane.
It's a little bit worrying to me as well, because Infused, their bot lane in the last few games has been playing so solidly, giving them any kind of an advantage. It could be disastrous. You know, Toaster, we saw last game his performance on Vayne. That was one thing, but he was playing a character that could become that monster. Sivir doesn't have the same level of potential. She really needs to be careful not to fall too far behind early.
And this is definitely true. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Alfari may well have caught Tundra slightly out of position.
Yeah, he's actually ghosting here. He is just going for it. Does a lot of damage and backs off. Tundra is going to have to recall. Teleport will be up by the time he gets back to base with that recall, though. So Alfari not making too much of a dent there. Actually, Tundra deciding to stick around. There's not much mana on Alfari. That might be why. Arfan coming in from the side in the bottom lane. Can he find someone? Wisdom gets hit by that concussive blows passive. He's taking a lot of damage. Valkyrie decides to go in there, but without the Winter's Bite, I think any chance of getting that kill has now disappeared, unless Toaster is a little bit aggressive with Nutri. Roaming towards this bottom lane, he was trying to bait something in there, wasn't able to find it though.
Yeah, I can definitely see now. They recognized that Nutri was hanging around, so they tried to bait a bit of a re-engage, but Team Infused had full vision of the river and didn't fall for that one, so good vision and awareness of the entire map from both sides. Meanwhile, in this top lane, a bit of a CS lead developing for Alfari, so this Olaf pick working very well for him in the early game, definitely heading towards his favor, and I wonder what he's going to build. There are definitely a variety of build paths available. He might be heading towards that Blade of the Ruined King. Alternatively, he might be heading towards a Brutalizer. I wonder whether or not he's going to go for an attack speed centered build or maybe a cooldown reduction build. I mean, if he's going for that attack speed, maybe he's looking to, you know, rely on his auto attacks to do a large amount of his damage. But if he's going for the cooldown reduction, perhaps he's relying more on his throwing of his axes as well as the true damage that comes out from his E. We will have to see what Alfari decides.
Yeah, Undertow is strong, especially if you're chasing, because you can just keep getting it up. But the most reliable thing that you can do is probably to go for the attack damage-based builds. We're going to have to see which one he decides to go for. Like you are saying, look at the zone in this bottom lane. It's absolutely disgusting. Arfan just keeping people off of those minions very, very nicely. Infused, they're building up a little bit of a lead at the moment. Look at the gold, you know, they are ahead. The question is, can they maintain that? Because the team fight combo that FM have access to could be devastating in an early dragon fight.
Yeah, and as you're saying that, can they maintain that lead? We do see Memento hanging around the top lane. It is very likely that Tundra will just teleport back into the lane. Ooh, in the top.
Oh, Tundra does need to be really careful here. Actually using the Gnar ultimate to get a kill onto Memento, maybe. He picks it up. They trade, and he still has TP as well. So he's not even losing out very much in that. No assist even went over to Alfari.
Yeah, that was definitely the best case scenario, I feel, for Tundra. He wasn't going to be allowed to back off, and if he stayed under the tower, he was definitely going to get killed, and he wasn't going to get anything in return. So he decided that the best thing he could do in that scenario was to try and get a kill onto Memento, at the very least trade 1-for-1, and that's exactly what he manages to do. So now he's going to put Memento even further behind. That's going to allow Nutri to get vision around that half of the map, and you do see he's already heading towards the bot. Maybe get a gank off, but instead he's just going to clear some vision out. But very well played by Tundra, and he's decided to walk back to top lane so that he still has that teleport available for any potential Drake fights as we are heading towards the mid game.
I think that's super important too, especially given that you've got a Corki on the flip side. You know, once he hits that IE, dragons are going to be a big priority for Infused. They've got a power spike around then, so making sure that Tundra can teleport and be the key ingredient in the Wombo combo is very important. By the way, just to highlight, Infused, MVP for them is the Vision Ward. Their warding has been so incredible all throughout today's play.
It definitely has, but you also have to credit FM. You can see something that I do highlight very often is the thing about vision is, depending on at what stage you are during the game, you need to have your line of vision at different places in the map. And FM realize that at the moment the game is very even. They don't really have any major lead, but they're not majorly far behind, so they're keeping their vision line at the entrances to their jungle so they can see if Memento tries to make any aggressive plays. So once they get a slight lead, once they start contesting for that Drake, they're going to start moving their vision slightly further up. You can already see there's one ward around, slightly further. Oh, me one on the bot.
Yeah, it gets the headbutt pulverized, but it was kind of ineffectual, to be honest. I don't know how else to put it. Didn't really accomplish very much. Toaster actually taking a lot of damage on the backspin. There comes the Glacial Fissure. Valkyrie in. They're just going ham for it. They smell blood. Toaster goes down. Concussive blows.